Welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to talk about how you're never going to change.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to talk about how you are never going to change. So I'm going to start off with a little story about how I was having a conversation with another dad just yesterday. And he's someone who has purchased my book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had. And he was sharing with me that his father has had a lot of challenges, struggles, been in and out of jail, wasn't really there for him as a kid, and that his father looks like he's kind of relapsing now and going through some more challenges. The gentleman is in his late 30s, and he has a 6-year-old daughter. He goes, "Can I tell you a story?" I said, "Sure." He says, "Man, I was traveling. I was gonna, I invited my father to come meet his granddaughter, as he's really never met her. And I bought him the plane ticket, had all the arrangements. He was going to stay with us, and I shared with my daughter how she was going to meet Grandpa, and she was so excited. And I was excited for the first time to see my dad in a long time." He goes, "So we got to pick him up at the airport, and I'm circling the airport, and, I'm calling him, and it said that the plane had landed, and he's circling, and he goes, and my father's not answering his phone, but it's ringing." And he goes, "I'm just like, I don't know what's going on." And immediately in my brain, I was like, and obviously he's telling me this story, but my first thing was he didn't even get on the airplane. I said, "He didn't get on the plane, did he?" He goes, "No." He finally calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I just woke up." He goes, "So I'm processing this." This is him talking to me. "I'm processing this." And I'm thinking to myself, you were supposed to be up 6 hours ago. And then he went on to say to me, he goes, he's let me down 1,000,000 times, but I never thought in 1,000,000 years he would let down my daughter. And I said, "You should have known better." Because just because he had a daughter, just because he now has a granddaughter, doesn't mean that his behavior is going to change. He's still going to get in and out of trouble. He's still going to be an addict to whatever drugs have taken over his life. And I think, and it made me reflect. See, I don't know jack about parenting, guys. I say it almost every single episode. But I've lived enough life to know a little bit about people. And being a parent, you're a person. And hopefully these lessons translate into my son, because I have a level of consciousness. Hopefully I'm making you more aware with some of these stories of a level of consciousness, so that maybe you don't make some of the same mistakes. Because then I thought to one of my best friends in the world who had been let down by his father numerous times as a child. As he became an adult, he could have more of an adult relationship with his dad. So if he was traveling and he happened to be in a city his father was in, they would have dinner, have a couple beers, laugh about life, but probably never got any serious. So he felt like, man, I could hang with dad, until he had children. And he was like, "Dad, you gonna come meet your grandson?" And guess what? Dad never made it around. See, the title of this was "You're Never Gonna Change." But the beauty is, if you're listening to this, you can be different. The title of my book is Be the Dad You Wish You Had. Meaning, we all have parents, whether it's ladies, if you're listening, You have a mom, and a lot of moms and daughters have this strained relationship for various reasons, right? And I don't know that dynamic, but a lot of men have strained relationship with their father, or no relationship with their father, because people don't deal with these things. So be the dad, even the mom that you wish you had. Really think about, and this is going to be one of my courses, think about and ask yourself some real questions. What were some things that mom or dad did amazing for me? For me, I had to list a lot of things that my mother did amazing for me that I really wanted to duplicate, right? I had no father presence. And then grab onto those things. What are the things that they didn't do? Or the things that they did do that you just couldn't stand and never want to repeat? And I wouldn't say write down, I'm not going to do this. I would write down something positive in place of that. For example, nobody ever came to any sporting events or award ceremonies or anything I ever won at school. For me, I don't say, man, I'm never going to do that to my kid, because what does that really mean? What I say is I am going to show up to all of those events, and I'm going to be active in my child's life, and I'm pretty active. But that's a promise I made to myself really early on in this thing we call parenting, because I don't know jack about parenting, but I know how I felt as a child when those things were going down. So to go back to my friend, his father never really made it around to meeting the grandchildren at this point. And now he's really angry at dad once again. And I know I've done a podcast about this. I don't know how long ago or what episode it was, but about forgiveness. He just got to forgive so that you could show love and not have this animosity. And the last quick little story I want to share in regards to this one is that one of my own. As this man was sharing his story of hoping his father would change his tune now that he was a dad, and that he would show up and travel halfway across the country to see his granddaughter, and told his daughter that this was going to happen, knowing full well that this man has never held a promise his entire life. That's us, because we expect them to change, and we can't change them. The only people we could change is ourselves. So it reminded me when I was 3 weeks before my son was about to be born. I had never met my father face to face, and I went and knocked on his door. And I just having a great, the best conversation I could have expected considering the circumstances. We had a 4-hour conversation. I asked this man, you've never been in my life. Would you like the opportunity to be back in my life, but even more importantly, be in your grandson's life? And I had zero expectations, and this is kind of probably where I was more fortunate than this gentleman I was talking to, or even my good friend. He says, it's always been this way, and I would like it to continue to be this way. Really nice to meet you. Pretty much gave me a handshake, but I don't want this in my life. And I was like, wow. I respect it. I honored it. But just like the gentleman sharing with me yesterday, he expected his father to change at some level because he had a newfound love. And once we find this love as a father, we don't understand how anybody could have denied us, because we can't imagine denying our little ones. At least a lot of the dads I talk to. My friend invites dad, wants to meet up with him, wants him to meet his kids, man, super proud, man. Dad, I'm a dad myself, you're a granddad. Wants no interest, but there's no shock. He didn't want any interest in his own kid's life. Now he definitely doesn't want to be in a grandkid's life. And some of it is guilt, I believe. I don't know. I'm not a grandfather who is an absent father. But it's guilt of, man, I didn't even do a good job on you. And then that draws up whole other things, right? It draws up, well, we were so good with my kids. How come you never did that for me? And I think men, older men who know they've made some mistakes, don't want to face those fears. And then my own father, right? He just said, I just want it to stay the same. So I titled it, You're Never Gonna Change. I should have said, You're never gonna change somebody else. But men, moms out there, as you're listening to this, you have an opportunity to, what I call, break the cycle. You have an opportunity to change your behavior. But this doesn't just happen overnight. This is something you have to be very conscious of and do intentionally. And it needs to be, I saw a great quote earlier today. It basically says, success is not about how much money you make, or what. It basically said success is for the people who show up every day and do something intentionally every single day that they wake up. Those are the people who are successful. And I like to think, in my world, even though I don't know jack about parenting, I show up every single day for my boys intentionally. And if I mess them up, it's not going to be for lack of trying. So what I realized is I can't change what my mother did. I couldn't change what my father did. I couldn't change my own circumstances or how I was brought up. What I could change is my perception around that and how I approach my own parenting style. And that's all you could control. So if you're going to change anything, change yourself. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.